Shalom Aleichem, Israelites. Peace be unto you. Well, this is your brother Bentzedek coming at you. And today I'm going to share with you some information that the banks do not want you to know. Okay, first of all, I start by saying this is not legal advice. I do not offer legal advice, but these are legal facts that I'll present to you. Well, first of all, the word mortgage is two French words combined together. Mort, which we get the word mortician from, like dead or debt, D-E-A-T-H, and engage. So when one has a mortgage, they're engaged to debt, D-E-A-T-H, interestingly. Well, first of all, I'm going to let you know, when you go to apply for a mortgage, the banks did not loan you any money. Yes, you heard me right. The banks did not loan you any money. It's a scam. That's why they're called banksters. They're all in it together. Well, I'm gonna explain to you, or try to explain to you, how this process works, so you could better educate yourself and you could share this information with your fellow men. Because when we get these information from the Most High, it's not to keep for ourselves, but it's to share with our fellow men. Okay? Number one, the banks cannot, by law, loan its credit money. And we have several Supreme Court cases that rule on that fact. Let's look at a few. The United States codes make it clear that a bank has the authority to lend its money, but not its credit. 12 U.S.C. Section 24, Paragraph 7. In First National Bank of Tallapoosa versus Monroe. Okay? Another one we see, which is very, very, very interesting, is found in another quotation. Among the assets of the state bank were two notes secured by mortgage, which could not be transferred to the new bank as assets under the national banking law, National Bank of Commerce versus Atkinson. Another one. Again, a national bank cannot lend its credit or become an accommodation or endorser, National Bank of Commerce versus Atkinson. So the question is this: if the bank cannot lend you its credit money, then what did it loan you? Zero. Zilk. This is how it works. When you went and you applied, they gave you an application. Okay? You fill out an application so they could see if you could pay them back real fiat money, paper money, for this loan that was made out of thin air. And I'm going to tell you how this works. When you go to the closing, if you notice, if you remember, those of you who have been to a closing, you have the witness who represent the bank, and then you are, if you go with your spouse. Now you signed, your spouse signed, and then the witness signed on behalf of the bank. Now, first of all, for a contract to be valid, both parties have to sign, meaning both sides of the contract, both parties to the contract have to sign, meaning the creditor and the lender, the creditor, sorry, and the debtors both have to sign. Now, if you notice, these loan closing paperwork, they are not notarized. The promissory note is not notarized. It's for a reason. This is how the trick works. When you go, you sign that promissory note thinking that the bank will give you money when you sign it. The bank don't give you any money. What the bank does, it took your promissory note, which is a negotiable instrument under the United States Code, and it could be used as money, just like a money order, a cashier's check, etc., etc. What the bank does, they make an account for you. They open an account for you with your name without you knowing anything about it. Then they sign your name to it for you without you knowing anything about it, because you cannot open a bank account without a signature. So somebody open a bank account for you, sign your name to it, then they deposit your promissory note into the account. So let's say The promissory note, the amount is $100,000. So they make an account for you into the bank and deposit out of thin air. Somebody just type up in, in the account $100,000, and this is now known as asset to the bank. Okay, asset. They just punch it out of thin air, the same amount they see on the paper. Then they take this, they take it to the Federal Reserve, which give them between 9 and 10 times the amount. Okay. After the Federal Reserve give that to them, they even went further. 99% of the banks, this is what they do. They now take your promissory note, they go and they turn it into a bond without you knowing anything about it, put it into a pool with thousands of other notes, mortgage notes. This process is called securitization. At this point, the note is destroyed. It's no longer a note anymore, but becomes a bond. Then they chop these notes up into pieces in this pool and sell them off on Wall Street to investors all over the world. Now, to give you a better understanding how this works, let's look at the carrot and the stick, the carrot and the juice. If you take juice from the carrot, you cannot re-put the juice back into the carrot anymore. It's gone. No more. Once the juice left the carrot, it cannot be returned to the carrot. Once that promissory note has become securitized, monetarized into a stock, it cannot become a note anymore. At this time, the note is destroyed. And without the note, the original blue ink note that you signed, without that, no one could foreclose on your property. Okay? That's why they're having a lot of problems now coming up with these notes. What they do, these banksters, they hired um, robo signers. People were signed and they were just making up fake notes and have people signing them, and use them to trick judges and steal people's houses. Okay, let me explain something to you. The bank did not loan you any money, so you do not owe the bank any money. As a matter of fact, the bank used your signature and make gazillion amount of dollars from your signature and didn't even share anything with you. Okay, that's how it works. Another thing they do is this. If you ever notice, sometimes if somebody is like a month behind or 2 months behind and they reach out to the bank for help, the bank will tell them, well, we can't do anything until about 90 days. You have to be at least 90 days in default. You know why? Guess why? Because on day 91, the bank goes to the insurance agency and say, look, this person is in default. And the insurance agency, what they do at this point, they paid off the amount for the bank, every single penny for the house. They pay it all off, okay, without you knowing anything about it. They call it a credit default swap, a CDS, okay. It's in their pooling and service agreement known as PSA. It's included into the securitization process. Pooling and service agreement. It's called a credit default swap. Okay. Once you go into default, day 91, the insurance company, they exchange and they swap and they pay it off the loan, and you don't know anything about it. Then they come back harassing you again on top of it for more money. It's a scam. I think I'm gonna make a couple videos with this because it's a long process. It's a lot of scams. I mean, I do not know if people have a clue as to what's going on. I mean, these banksters are greedy. They are evil. They are demonic, for lack of a better word. So we're gonna make part 2 of this. Shalom.